This is the day that the Lord hath made, that the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord hath made. And you know what? It is a good and perfect day because God only makes good and perfect days for us. Yesterday, I shared with you some scriptures how David was very bold with the Lord and would say, Lord, hurry to help me. Make no tarrying. In the day that I call, you will answer. And so I wanted to give you, actually, this was the first place that the Lord took me when I went to him and asked him, Lord, I have to know for myself if I can expect you to be there when I call on you. And immediately the Holy Spirit took me to this particular situation, this word. And you know, this is a precedent of our faith. Whatever God did for somebody else, he will do for you because he never changes. He's not moody. He's not up one day, down the next. I am the Lord. I change not. Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. So once you find out what God is and what he will do and how to receive from him, you can receive everything from him because he never changes. He never changes his mind. It says that he is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should change. He doesn't change. That is good news because that is stable. His word is stable. And he said, I will hasten my word to perform it. And he said, I will magnify my word above my name. So in this situation, 1 Samuel 17, a story that I'm sure everybody has heard, but let's look at the truth of it from actually the way it was. The children of Israel had been camped out for 40 days and 40 nights. A giant Goliath with the Philistines, who represented the Philistines, came out and taunted them every day and said, send me a man. And he said, if you win, then we'll be your servants. And if we win, you'll be our servants. Well, the children of Israel were shaking in their boots, so to speak. And they were just fearful and trembling. Well, Jesse sends his son David with some cheese and some provision for his brothers and for the king. And he comes up there and he just basically said, what's going on? And so they told him, and he said, let not your heart fear because of him. And so he went to King Saul, or they took him to King Saul, and he said, let not your heart fear because of him. Listen to what David said. Always listen to what people say, because you're going to have what you say. He said, your servant will go and fight the Philistine. And then he said, when Saul said, but you're but a ruddy youth, you're just young. And he said, I kept my father's sheep. And he said, a bear came out, and I took him by the beard, and I smote him. And a lion came out. And he said, the Lord that delivered the lion and the bear into my hand, he will deliver this Philistine into my hand. So there again was his second confession of what he was going to do. So then he goes out against Goliath after Saul wanted him to take his armor, and he said, I haven't proved this. But you know what? He had proved the covenant of God. The same covenant that God has made with you through Jesus Christ. So he comes out, and of course Goliath just disdains him like, you got to be kidding. You're sending this kid out here against me? Listen to what David said. Then said David to the Philistine, he said, you came to me with sword and spear, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts. And then he said, and here's the key. This is the key. Listen to what David said. This day will I smite you. No, he said, this day will the Lord deliver you into mine hand, and I will smite you, and I will take your head from you. And he said, and I will take all the host of the army of the Philistines this day and feed them to the fowl of the air. So what did he say? He said he was going to take Goliath, he was going to smite him, he was going to take his head from him. Now remember, David had no sword in his hand, but he did have the sword of the Spirit in his mouth. And he was declaring what God would do. And he said, and I will take all the host of the army of the Philistines this day and feed their carcasses to the fowl of the air. So he said not only what he was going to do, he said when he was going to do it. When did he say? This day. Why did God not do it before? Because nobody declared anything until David came on the scene and declared. Any one of the other Israelites could have taken Goliath down that would believe God. Any one of them. They all had the same covenant. But David knew his covenant. He believed his covenant. He declared his covenant. And so tomorrow we will look at and see if God honored what he said and when he said it. Have a blessed day. Remember, Jesus is Lord. Thank God the word works.